Good afternoon. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel as I continue on my part series, The Week That Was College Football History Review, the 1969 college football season. Now, I've already finished with the college football season, the regular season of college football. Now, it's all about going over and recapping the games that were played as far as the bowl season is concerned, the 1969 bowl seasons. So, we're going to look at the 1969 bowl games, and then get into other statistics and All-American team and who won the Heisman and the major awards. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with the Liberty Bowl on December 13th, where Colorado beat Alabama 47-33. Now, wild scoring fluctuations marked Liberty Bowl as Colorado built big early edge, then saw Alabama rally behind sub-quarterback Ned Hayden for 2-point lead at 33-31. Finally scored 16 unchallenged points in the fourth quarter. Tailback Bob Anderson had a humongous game, a big game. He had 254 yards rushing on 35 carries, scoring his first touchdown as Buffalo's dominated for a 17-0 lead early in the second quarter. And tailback Johnny Musso's touchdown brought tied within 24-19, but Buffalo's answered with tricky handoff on kickoff, which sprung tailback Steve Engel for a 91-yard touchdown return just 46 seconds before halftime. Hayden hit 2 touchdown passes in third quarter to put Alabama ahead 33-31. Anderson scored twice in fourth quarter to enhance Colorado's pressure defense, which nailed Hayden 4 times for losses, including safety. In the Sun Bowl, Nebraska beat Georgia 45-6. Using the first quarter, tailwind kicker Paul Rogers made field goals and tailback Jeff Kinney blasted for 11 yards on a touchdown as budding juggernaut Nebraska stampeded Georgia with 18-0 jumpstart. Another spree in third quarter put game out of reach as the Cornhuskers quarterback Van Brownson hit fullback Mike Green for an 11-yard touchdown. He plunged for touchdown moments later. Injury-riddled Bulldogs offense crossed midfield only 3 times, but got late-game touchdown from quarterback Paul Gilbert. In the Gator Bowl, Florida beat Tennessee 14-13, as the Gator Bowl became only the 8th bowl game to date, which matched same conference rivals. Everyone expected offensive explosion, but each team's defense turned up very sharp, as Tennessee moved smartly but failed to convert 3 first downs at Gators' 10-yard line or closer. Florida defensive back Steve Tannen blocked first quarter punt, and linebacker Mike Kelly scooped it up for an 8-yard touchdown return for a 7-0 advantage. Heads up, Kelly also collected interception and fumble. Volunteers tallied 10 points in the second quarter, including a quarterback Bobby Scott's 12-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Lester McLean. Gators in turn took 14-10 lead in the third quarter on quarterback John Reed's touchdown pass to wide receiver Carlos Alvarez. From that point on, the Gators built defensive fortress and also executed goal line stand. Week-long rumors that Coach Doug Dickey was headed to Florida, his alma mater, probably helped to distract Volunteers. The rumors turned out to be true. In fact, that Florida had won this game made for Dickey's rocky early relationship with his new players in Gainesville. In the Peach Bowl, West Virginia beat South Carolina 14-3. West Virginia coach Jim Carlin pulled a neat trick for the Peach Bowl. He installed a run-oriented wishbone offense, and weather played right into his hands as downpour created quagmire on playing surface. Little-used Mountaineers fullback Eddie Williams was a surprise starter and carried 35 times for 208 yards after running only 53 times during the regular season for West Virginia. Mountaineers dominated with 365 yards rushing against surprise Gamecocks defenders, but could only score on halfback Bob Gresson's 10-yard touchdown run early in the first quarter, and fullback Jim Braxton's 1-yard plunge in game's last minute. Atrocious conditions hampered air game of the South Carolina Gamecocks, which still connected 11 for 23 for 126 yards. West Virginia defense, led by disruptive nose guard Carl Cornell, got a film recovery, forced 2 interceptions. Gamecocks tallied on kicker Billy Dupree's 37-yard field goal with 3:49 to go before halftime that brought them within 7-3. In the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl, Houston beat Auburn 36-7 as wide receiver Terry Beasley's fumble of opening kickoff got favored Auburn off on the wrong foot. The Tigers never were able to regroup. Tailback Jim Strong had 184 yards rushing on 32 carries of homestanding Houston. Quickly gained 22 yards to put quarterback Gary Mullins in position to sneak for opening touchdown. Kicker Carlos Lopez kicked 27-yard field goal. Strong added first of his 2 touchdowns after cantering 74 yards on a setup run. Trailing 16-0, Auburn drew within 9 points by making its only touchdown. Mickey Zarsko's 36-yard halfback pass to wingback Connie Frederick. Cougars rolled up 376 yards rushing, more than 200 yards more than Auburn's number 3 ranked defense had allowed in any game during the 1969 season of college football. On the other side of the ledger, Houston defense led by defensive end Jerry Jones and linebacker Charlie Hall tossed quarterback Pat Sullivan for loss of 50 yards, dropped Tigers' net rush total to self-conscious 1 yard. In the Sugar Bowl, Mississippi beat Arkansas 27-22. Early in the Sugar Bowl, deflated Arkansas found it troublesome, rebounding from its defining late-season Texas loss. Underdog Mississippi jumped to 14-0 lead in the first quarter as fullback Bo Bowen put quick punctuation on an 80-yard drive with a 69-yard touchdown sprint behind blocks of guard Skip Jernigan and tackle Worthy McClure. Usually reliable Porkers kicker Bill McClard missed field goals after 2 Arkansas drives, and Rebels quarterback Archie Manning zipped around in on 4th and 1 for 18-yard touchdown in a 14-0 lead. So tailback Bill Barnett got Razorbacks back in the game at 14-6 with a 12-yard touchdown run. And quarterback Bill Montgomery, who outpassed MVP Manning with 17 of 32 for 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, trimmed Ole Miss lead to 24-12 with 47-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Chuck Dickers just 35 seconds before halftime. Teams traded third quarter field goals, and Montgomery added another touchdown pass in fourth quarter. So Ole Miss led 27-22. Porkers set up shop at Rebels' 38-yard line with 5 minutes to play. It seemed as though Arkansas would finally gain control. So instead, Ole Miss came up with some big defensive plays by safety Lynn Cannon. Cannon broke up 3 passes by Montgomery to halt threat. Arkansas again surged goalward in the last 2 minutes. And Dickers broke open for pass he carried to Ole Miss 25-yard line. Cannon knocked Dickers flat, recovered his fumble to explode Hogs' comeback hopes. Next in the Cotton Bowl, Texas, the number 1 team in the country, beat Notre Dame, the number 9 team in the country, 21-17. The eyes of the nation were upon number 1 Texas and number 9 Notre Dame as Fighting Irish made their first postseason appearance since their 1925 Rose Bowl win over Stanford. The Longhorns dedicated the game to courageous little defensive back Freddie Steinmark, who stood with crutches on sidelines, his leg having been amputated on December 12th because of cancerous tumor. Mighty Texas wishbone offense churned forward for 331 yards on the ground. I still got much ground game going. And quarterback Joe Theismann expertly scrambled about his backfield to free himself to clutch passing. So Theismann found in Tom Gatewood, who had 112 yards for 6 passes for 112 yards receiving for a 54-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter for 10-0 lead. At the Texas halfback Jim Burleson, who had 81 yards on 18 carries, scored a touchdown later in the second quarter. Longhorns advanced again toward Notre Dame's end zone twice. Notre Dame linebacker Bob Olsen boarded game's top defender. Stuffed halfback Billy Dale with 1 yard to go at Irish 7-yard line as 4th down try fell less than an inch short. So Notre Dame led 10-7 at halftime. Texas halfback Ted Coy traded 4th-quarter touchdown with Theismann, who got away from pass rush pressure to wing 24-yard touchdown to wing wide open and Jim Yoder. From their own 24-yard line, showing 17-14, the Longhorns began a fateful drive, which would prove to be one of the most dramatic in bowl history. Texas marched 8 548 of clock as fullback Steve Worcester, who had 155 yards on 20 carries, continually battered Notre Dame. Now, Texas faced a 4th down and 2 at the Irish 20-yard line, and Coy ran for the necessary 2 yards. Coach Darrell Royal called a surprise on the next 4th down gamble when Steers needed 2 yards from the 10-yard line. The quarterback James Street passed to left sideline to end Cotton Spiro, who made brilliant shoestring catch at the 2-yard line. It took 3 tries, but Dale took Street's pitch out for winning the 1-yard touchdown with 1:08 to play, as game ball from Texas' 20th straight victory was presented to Steinmark, who tragically would live to see only one more football season. Next, in the Rose Bowl, the Southern California Trojans beat Michigan 10-3. Michigan coach Bo Schembechler missed coaching in his first Rose Bowl when Mal Howard-Chack sent him to the hospital right night before the game. Filling in was Wolverines defensive coach Jim Young, future Hall of Famer who would make his mark coaching at Arizona, Purdue, and Army, who said all of us were playing under difficult circumstances. Southern California coach John McKay revised his defense to a 5-man front when linebacker Greg Soule played little because of injury. Troy also looked to ball control offense, which netted 323 yards to Wolverines' 289 yards. Now, kickers like Ron Ayala of USC and Jim Killian of Michigan swapped short first half field goals after each team's long, methodical drive bogged down. Playing in their 4th straight Rose Bowl, Trojans displayed what McKay called his best defense ever in third quarter, when defensive back Sandy Darko made the diving interception near midfield, and Trojans quarterback Jimmy Jones soon whipped crossing pattern pass to wide receiver Bob Chandler, who broke tackle Wolverines defensive back Brian Healy for 33-yard touchdown. Quarterback Don Moorhead pitched Michigan into Southern California end 3 times in the 4th quarter, reaching 13, 9, and 34-yard lines. But USC well-watched defense sparkled when it counted, stopping each advance. And in the Trojans defense, Tyrone Hudson helped defuse 3 game-ending bombs by Moorhead. McKay left vindicated after a season full of narrow wins. We are the most criticized 10-game winning team in football history without question. His team would end up 3rd in the Final Four. And finally, Orange Bowl, Penn State beat Missouri 10-3, as undefeated number 2 Penn State must have wondered what might have been if Forsythe had prompted it to have accepted Cotton Bowl opportunity against Texas. Nick Lyons needed to impress posters who harbored notion that they had played weak schedule, although of AP's top 10 teams prior to bowl games. Penn State's opponents' winning percentage of 5.39-3 was bettered only by number 5 USC's 5.778. Lyons clearly persuaded Missouri coach Dan Devine. If I had a vote, I might vote a tie for number 1 between Texas and Penn State. After tonight, I don't see how anybody can be better than Penn State. So underrated quarterback Chuck Burkhardt, who remained undefeated in 22nd straight game as Lions quarterback, completed, because he had 20 wins in a row in high school, completed 3 passes to set up kicker Mike Reed's 29-yard field goal in the first quarter. Moments later, the Tigers ace halfback Joe Moore lost fumble to Penn State defensive back Mike Smith, and Burkhardt sprinted out to find halfback Liddell Mitchell for 28-yard touchdown pass. The Missouri defense tightened thereafter. A 10-0 deficit forced Tigers quarterback Terry McMillan and Chuck Roper to air game. Not team's strong suit, because result under pass rush pressure from defensive tackles like Mike Reed and Steve Smear was 7 interceptions clutched by Lions. Still, Missouri outgained Penn State 306 yards to 244 yards, threatening 4 times with only kicker Henry Brown's late second quarter 33-yard field goal to show for it. The Lions defensive end John Ebersol contributed big play, colliding with wide receiver Mel Gray to separate ball and receiver at Penn State's 7-yard line in the second quarter. Now, the biggest defensive play came inside last minute of fourth quarter, when defensive back George Landis picked off Roper at the own 2-yard line, made 55-yard return to ice Penn State's win. Now, the AP poll looked like this. Texas was number 1, number 2 Penn State, number 3 Southern California, 4 Ohio State, number 5 Notre Dame, number 6 Missouri, number 7 Arkansas, 8 Mississippi, 9, Michigan. Number 10, Louisiana State. Nebraska was number 11, Houston 12. 13 was UCLA. 14, Florida. 15, Tennessee. 16, Colorado. 17, West Virginia. 18, Purdue. 19, Stanford. Number 20, Auburn. The top performance formula for 1969, number 1 was Penn State. The top opponent's record for 1969, top opponent's record was number 1 Mississippi State. The 1969 out of conference records, the number 1 conference was Southeastern Conference. They had 34-12 record with a percentage of 739-1, 7-3-9-1, 2-4 in the bowl season. 1969 individual statistical leaders. The rushing yards, Steve Owens won the for attempts. He was number 1 in yards, 1,523 yards rushing, 358 attempts. Steve Owens was the top rusher. The rushing yards, he was number 1. The passing yards was Dennis Shaw of San Diego State, 199 completions, 335 on attempts, 3,185 yards, and 59.4. And last but not least, the receiving yards, you had Carlos Alvarez of Florida, 88 catches, 1,329 yards. Now, let's look at the consistent All-American team. The consistent All-American team, offensively, at end, was Walker Gillette, Richmond, Carlos Alvarez, Florida, Jim Mandich, Michigan, tackle Bob McKay, Texas, John Ward, Oklahoma State, guard Chip Kell, Tennessee, Bill Bridges, Houston, center Rodney Brand, Arkansas. The backfield had Mike Phipps of Purdue, Steve Owens of Oklahoma, Bob Anderson of Colorado, and Jim Otis of Ohio State. On defense, you had ends like Jim Gunn, Southern California, Phil Olsen, Utah State, tackle Mike Reed, Penn State, Mike McCoy, Notre Dame, guard Jim Stillwagon, Ohio State, linebacker Mike Ballou, UCLA, Steve Connor, Tennessee, Dennis Uncantz, Penn State. And the defensive backfield was Jack Tatum, Ohio State, Buddy McClinton, Auburn, and Tom Curtis, Michigan, and kicker Bob Jacobs, Wyoming. Now, the Heisman Trophy vote for 1969, the top vote getter was Steve Owens, senior tailback of Oklahoma. He won the Heisman, finishing with 1,488 votes. Mike Phipps, senior quarterback, Purdue, finished with 1,334 votes. Rex Kern, junior quarterback, Ohio State, finished with 856. Archie Manning, junior quarterback, junior quarterback of Mississippi, 582. And Mike Reed, senior defensive tackle, Penn State, 297. Now, the other major awards that was won during the college football season for 1969 was Mike Reed, senior defensive tackle, Penn State. Walter Camp, the Player of the Year award. I think that's what it was. Player of the Year. Went to Archie Manning, junior quarterback of Mississippi. The Outland Lightman Trophy Award winner went to Mike Reed, senior defensive tackle, Penn State. And AFCA Coach of the Year was Bo Schembechler of Michigan. So that concludes the whole season of college football for 1969. I am done. So tomorrow I'll be starting to look at the overview of the 1970 college football season, as well as week 1 of the college football season 1970. So I'll be entering a new era to talk about the recap of the games that were played in 1970 during the 1970s era. So we're going to start with 1970. So the decade of the 60s of recapping what took place in college football is over with. You know what I'm saying? Now it's time to get into the 1970s and focus on the 70s era of college football. Now we do that tomorrow with 1970, the overview of the college football season. Number 1, number 2, go over what took place, some of the milestones, and obviously the AP poll of the top 20. And take it from there and get on with the week 1 of the season of 1970. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you take a look at it, please like and subscribe and comment on the channel. I'll do a video of this magnitude tomorrow. This concludes my part series for today, concluding the 1969 season overall, the 1969 bowl games, as well as all statistics, who won the major awards, including the Heisman Trophy winner, who won the Heisman in 1969, as well as who was on the All-American team. So that concludes this whole season of 1969. Tomorrow I'll be going into a new decade to talk about, and that's the 1970 college football season. Its overview, and second, week 1. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the channel. This is Rashad Mitchell. Until then, talk to you soon.